I don't remember if it was the last episode or if it was the episode before that, but someone left a comment that said that building a hydroelectric dam on this river would be a pretty good idea. And all things considered, I agree. I think it would be a great idea. I'm just not gonna be doing it today. I just wanted to bring it up at the start of this episode because I saw the comment, I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was so good, in fact, that I ran to the store, bought some whiteboard markers, and after about 3 or 4 years of not using it, I've started using the whiteboard on my wall again. And right now it just has a couple of words. It says hydro dam stupid. That's stupid directed towards me. It's not a stupid idea, it's a great idea. The stupid, it's comma stupid. Hydro dam comma stupid. I'm being a little rough on myself. Anyway, that's the plan. I want to build a hydroelectric dam on this river at some point, but I've been a bit busy between episodes. You might notice we have $10.8 million. Yeah, I've been kind of busy. I've not been going crazy, I should say. I'm being very specific in what I'm showing you right now. You might be able to see some of the changes in the distance. I've not gone crazy. I've not built a bunch of stuff. I've just let the game run because I'm getting good at not pausing when I build things. So my goal was to just fix traffic a little bit. And if we go and have a look here, we're at 81%, which for me is really good. It could be better. It definitely could. This little intersection here, for example, it's still not right. But I did fix the traffic going out of this area, and I did that by connecting it to this guy. And what this guy is doing is just letting traffic into that industrial space. It's letting it into this industrial space as well. And I didn't stop there. I got a little bit carried away, and we now have a second highway connection to the city. I also built this bridge. I love this. I've been thinking about doing this for a little while. I was thinking about a bridge that kind of curves around like this, and I love how this looks. I love how it functions. You've got the highway connection going straight to this bridge. So this really does. If you take this highway, you can shoot straight into the heart of the city, which is something we've needed for a little while. I wasn't really sure how to do it, but that does it perfectly, and I'm so pleased with it. And that's really all I've been doing. I've just been playing around with these roads, trying to figure out the best way to manage traffic in this space, trying to figure out the best way to manage traffic in all of these spaces. And in doing so, we're at 85% traffic flow, which again, for me, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty good for me. So I'm gonna hold on to that and be quite proud of myself on that one. Now, what I want to do today is I want to grow the population. And the reason I want to grow the population is because I want this tile right here. I want this one right here. There's 3 more tiles that we can buy. I want this one in the bottom middle. And the reason I want that is because if we have a look at our resources, there's a lot of ore around here. There's also a lot of ore over there as well in that tile. And my thinking is that I want to build a big industrial space over here that's built around some ore industry. I just don't want to do it today because we've spent so much time in this corner of the map that I kind of want to get away from it for a little bit. And we need to grow the population anyway. We need to get up to 38,000 people, which, given I've got this space, we can totally do. The thing is, I don't want to fill this space in first. I do want to get there, but I kind of want to do something down here because this road, I'm just kind of sick of it. It's always supposed to have been a temporary thing. It's kind of been here a little bit too long. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take out all of these power lines, and then we're going to take out all of these roads as well. And we're just going to see what we can do. I'm actually just going to strip these power lines right back and just do something a little bit more straightforward. So from there, going to there should be just fine. That should give us a power connection. That does give us a power connection. That's just how we're going to do that for the time being. And so what I want to do, like I said, I want to take this road and I want to bring it right back. So I'm going to bring it back to there, and I'm going to leave it there because I do want to keep this connection, but I want to play around with this space a little bit. And I'm actually going to have to take out part of this power line as well. So my thinking is that we can somehow connect this big old avenue here to this road, and we can still keep it connected to like this avenue here, maybe to this one as well, sort of allowing that industrial traffic to filter through the city a little bit more. But I also want to fill in this space down here. I want this to have like a, I don't know, I want to have like a road sort of be a nice right angle turn right at the edge of that cliff. I think that would look really cool. So the way I'm thinking of doing that is that we maybe go ahead and let's use the 4-lane sidewalk, or the 4-lane road with wide sidewalks. And let's use some road guidelines to see if we can do this. So if I go from here, I can kind of go the entire way across, but it's going to have to be like that. So let's just try and level this out a little bit. In fact, let's flatten a lot of this space. Let's sort of flatten this out a little bit here. We'll bring this down a little bit. It is messing with the terrain, but I'm okay with that for now. And I'm going to sort of use the slope tool to give myself, in fact, let's just keep this space nice and flat. Let's keep that nice and flat right at the edge. Let's go for a nice slope from about there, just like that. And that should give me something nice to play with. And then what we'll do is something similar just over there. So we'll go for a nice slope up in that direction. And that should give us just a lot of nice flat space to work with and build in. And that's all I want. I'm not going to go too crazy with the terrain stuff at the minute. Now what I want to do is, well, I don't know if I want to connect right in that corner. I don't think I can connect right in that corner. So if I go from here, that'll actually work pretty well. So that's maybe what we're going to do, although that's not quite going to line up with that cliff. And I don't want to do too much in the way of terrain stuff here, but I think we might have to. So we'll do this, and I guess what we'll do is just flatten this out a little bit more. We're going to bring it back. That's kind of the important thing. This road is supposed to be right up on the edge here, but we'll bring it to here for now, and we'll bring it to, I guess, about there. That's not really sloping down, so that's fine. And then we'll just bring this straight back. And then what we can do is we can use the slope tool to sort of sharpen that edge, which is maybe a little unrealistic. It's maybe a little much, maybe a little too sharp what I've done there, but we're going to do that for now. Just, and then maybe hit it with a little bit of a smooth brush, just so it's a little bit more gentle. So something like that. I don't know. It's not perfect, but it does the job. It gives us the same cliff, and I don't know. I'll put some fences around it to make it safer, because that's definitely not safe, but that's fine. This is just the area that I want to build in though. We're going to get a nice triangle out of this. It's going to look interesting. The only thing I really need to do, oh, should I line it up with that? Should we have, ooh, I don't know if I can line it up with that. I might not be able to. I'll tell you what I'll do instead. I'll line it up with this avenue. So this guy's going to come out to here. This guy's going to go straight through there somehow. I'm not sure if I can actually manage to get it to do that. But if we line it up there, line you up there, I guess that kind of works. It gives us a weird space to work with, but I'm kind of okay with that. And then what I'm also thinking I'm wanting to do here is I want to bring this guy maybe 20 units down, and we'll bring him 20 units kind of this way. And we'll bring this guy out of here, and we'll just sort of connect these together so that we have a couple of extra roads going through, so traffic can kind of, get around here in a way that's not too crazy. And then for this, I'm going to bring this maybe 10 down there, and I'm going to bring it 10 through here. In fact, I'm just going to line it up right there. And again, it just gives us a road that comes straight down and through here. It gives us this space. It gives us 3 districts, basically. And that's actually kind of exactly what I was looking for. I'm also thinking that this road down here, we can probably bring it over as well. So bring it to about there and bring it to about there. I mean, this was supposed to just be part of the church, but at the end of the day, I mean, we just have some extra space to play with, so I'm not really going to complain too much about it. Although I will just enable zoning on that road again. That's not the type of road I needed though, so let's just enable zoning right there. And I'm going to have to update those trees to be young lindens as well. So we'll get that going nice and quick. Young linden trees right there. And I think this is okay. This slope right here, I do want to do something with it, but what we might end up doing is using this big old avenue to come all the way down here. But this, I think, will be good. And the other thing I want to do, I've got to be honest, I had a bit of an ulterior motive coming down here. I really want to build the disaster response unit, because we kind of need one. Not because there's been a disaster, not because I'm turning disasters on, but because a couple of buildings have burned down and they need to be rebuilt. There's a couple of plazas. I think there's a plaza over here as well as burned down, and you need the disaster response unit to rebuild those things. So that's kind of what this space is going to be. So if we go into here, we have the disaster response unit here. This has 10 vehicles and 3 helicopters. And honestly, I kind of like the idea of it being right there. And that's going to deal with a lot of those issues once things get running. There is also this guy, which is the Disaster Response Airbase, which just has helicopters. And honestly, I'm not against it. I'm not against building it. It's a pretty interesting building. I didn't know it existed. I just don't know if I've got the space for it. It actually looks like I absolutely do have the space for it, and I definitely have the money for it. So what would that look like? It just has so many helicopters. That's ridiculous. The buildings are really similar looking, actually. I'd kind of like to try and get them together. I think that would be good. I'm not really sure how I'd manage it, but having these buildings, maybe not next to each other, but sort of in the same block would be really cool. I just don't think it's going to be an option. I think I'd have to put it like this one up here, or this one like down here, or even, you know, there, which looks ridiculous. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get them next to each other, unfortunately, unless I shuffle that road over a little bit, which I could do. I definitely could do that, but I think just for now, since we're not going to be dealing with disasters, we'll just get rid of that. And my other thinking with this space, actually, was that what I could do is essentially use this as like a little emergency services hub thing. So if we go in and get ourselves, we'll use the 2-lane road with grass median. We can go ahead and place it, say, I don't know, at the back of this, I guess, is where we'll go for the time being. I can bring a road out of here as well, connect those two together. And then what we could do is put something like this guy, the intelligence agency, which has 20 patrol cars. It could go right about there, and we'll switch those out for the mobile command centers because they're kind of cool looking. And so we have policing down here. We have disaster response down here. We have a little corner here that we could play with. We could do a crematorium if I really wanted to. I don't really want to, but maybe something like a fire department would be good here, like a fire headquarters, but well, it doesn't fit, so we're not doing that. What have we got that would fit in here? We could also, wait, there's a higher capacity fire helicopter depot. Why do I not know about these things? Why have I not looked at City Skylines to see what's new? I almost want the fire helicopters in here. I think that would be a really good idea. I think we might have to go for it. But what I want to do with that as well is I want it to not be on this avenue. So I'm going to bring this road down here. I'm going to bring this road through here and cut you to there. And then I can turn this thing around. And this is admittedly going to put the helicopters sort of on this road, but I prefer this. I think having it on this little road back here is kind of cool. So that's what we're going to do. We have got some weird spaces to play with, but that's all right. And then I wonder, can I get medical helicopters in here? Is that something I can fit in this space? We have the higher capacity medical helicopter depot as well. There's so many things. I could put it there. And I did just say I don't want to put things on the avenue, but having medical helicopters in that space actually seems kind of cool. So I think I'm going to go with that. And then I just sort of need to fill up the empty spaces. So we have fire, we have policing, we have medical. We don't have a lot of cars for those things. So we could try and put a little medical clinic in this corner if we really wanted to. I don't know that I need to do that. We have the crypto preservatory, which is, it stores the clinically deceased until the technology is available to revive them. I don't think we need it. The medical laboratory would be kind of cool, but it's a little big. The general hospital is a little big too. We have the plastic surgery center and we have the crematorium memorial park. I don't think there's too much that I'm going to fit in here. You know, annoyingly, I've just sat and built everything, and then I noticed that there's some misaligned grids right here, which means that this little road here isn't aligned properly, which is why this bit's gone, because they don't line up properly. That's really annoying. This corner doesn't line up properly either. I guess we're going to have to just deal with that. The good news is, like I said, this is all built now. I spent a little bit of time detailing it because I just wanted to. But it's got some trees, it's got the disaster response unit, we got some helicopters. The only things I really added were this small police security center and fire safety center, because they fill up that corner really nicely. And now this thing just needs some power. So let's spend a second just filling in the rest of this space. It's not going to be anything crazy. We're not going to go too nuts with this at all, really. But what I think we can do is bring a road down here and then maybe just bring a road through here, something like this. I'm actually thinking I might connect it down to there just because I can. So if I do this and this, yes, the bus stop gets moved up, but it gives us some space to play with. And honestly, I'm just going to keep this as a dead end. And then down here, we could maybe take that out, or at least extend it to... Oh, I don't know, really. We could extend it to there. We could just do zoning on one side. That might sort of defeat the purpose of having this road here at all, but I might do it anyway. And then that'll give us some space for some paths and all that good stuff. In fact, let's just go ahead and do the paths now while I'm here. I'm going to take out all these trees as well because I want to do those myself. But this isn't really going to be anything too crazy. Like I said, this is going to be a relatively straightforward district. It's just going to be the zoning that we need. So residential, commercial, industrial. And I think what we'll do is we'll bring a path sort of around like this. We'll bring one sort of through here as well because we can. So just that as well. It's going to connect down there. In fact, I might want to do that slightly differently. If I do it from here to there and then just go to this guy and turn off the road length, I can get it to go pretty close. So right about there, and it connects nicely. So that'll do just fine. And then for this guy, we'll turn grid snapping back on. And I'm debating whether or not I want it to snap to... Do I want it to go to this road? I feel like I probably do. I feel like having something like that makes sense. I feel like maybe a little connection to that road wouldn't be a bad idea. I wonder if I can do that if I turn off grid snapping. Can I go straight up? I don't think it's going to let me. If I do, I suppose this, and can I turn off angle snapping as well and get a little something? I absolutely can. That's fine. I don't think we need anything that comes down this way, but at the same time, having something that comes down here is probably not the worst thing in the world, because what we can do is punch through one of these corners just about anywhere, and that'll give us more access to the neighborhood, which is absolutely something that we want. So let's bring this path up to here. Let's just line these guys up so everything's going to play really nicely, even if it doesn't line up perfectly central. That's fine. And then this, I would like it to go there. I don't think it's going to let me go there. So what I'll do is just sort of bring it straight over and maybe just connect it there. I'm kind of okay with that. And then for the corner down here, I mean, I think we just punch it straight through again. So we'll turn on angles, grids, road lengths and all that stuff. And we'll just bring one sort of through here. We'll bring one sort of through here. And that'll give us plenty of access to the neighborhood. I think we'll push one straight through here as well. And that seems about right. That seems like enough. We can even do one there as well. So that gives us plenty of coverage. If we wanted to, I think I could probably get away with one here as well. Maybe not. If I did there, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, let's just do that. It's a whole bunch of coverage. It's a whole bunch of paths for a relatively... it's really no space at all. I kind of went a little too much on that. And I think before I zone it, let's fill this space in as well. It's, again, going to be nothing too crazy, but it's just going to be enough to deal with the demand that we have. And so just like that, we have some zoning in here. We have some buildings popping up. What I've gone for is a mix of zoning. We got a decent chunk of residential surrounded with some commercial and some offices as well. So people have places to work and shop in these districts. And basically, I've also gone for the, as per usual, modern city center on a lot of this because I just love it. I really do. I just love it. The rest of it, admittedly, is just the standard zoning for this map, whatever that might be. So, a bit of modern city center with the normal buildings as they would appear. And that gives us a pretty good little bottom to the city right here. I'm actually really pleased with this little bit of development. I think it looks pretty good. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing fancy. It's just a good little thing. And we can also go and throw some more buses in here, which is something I absolutely want to do. We do have this orange line that goes around the area already, but I think what we can do is get away with just sort of doubling up the lines the way we usually do. So we'll go from there. We'll go to here and we'll just bring this sort of down and around. We'll try and get the bus stops to be decent sizes as well. So right about there is where I'm thinking for that one. We'll go for right about there as well. That's not the biggest, but it will do. Right about there or there, that's a bit of a better size. Right about there should be a decent sized one. That's not too bad, but we'll go for here and we'll just bring it around like that. And then we'll do the same thing going counterclockwise around the district as well. I don't suspect that this line is going to be all too popular, but it's just a little something. We'll go in here. We'll have a look at the line as well and see how it's going. So it's going to be line 19. Well, it's 18 and 19 actually. And I think what we'll do is have these guys be... We got down to red. Let's go back to sort of yellowy orange, I think. So something kind of like that should do the job. They're more or less the same color. They're not exact, but it's about as good as they're going to be. And I think what we'll do for the buses going around here as well is go for something a bit of a lower capacity this time. Maybe just this bus here with a capacity of 30, just since I really don't think it's going to be all that popular going around that space. I could look into bringing the red line down in here. I don't think we need to do that though. The red line being the top to bottom one that we have in the city. I think we'll just leave it be for now. And we'll just see what happens. There are going to be a good number of people living in here. I'm hoping it's going to be enough to push us up to 38,000 people so that we can actually unlock another tile and work towards the point at which we will start building this ore industry. Like I said, I don't want to go too crazy with that, but oh man, that's that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. It's also unfortunate that they are all using the same lane right here. That's kind of why so much of this is backing up. They do split. They do split into different lanes once they get up to this point, but yeah, they don't split back there, so traffic is kind of a nightmare, really. I'd also imagine a decent chunk of that is we did have a death wave, so there's a lot of new people moving in. It's a little unfortunate. It's definitely a little unfortunate. Oh wait, no. It's industrial traffic because I never reconnected this guy. That was the whole point of getting rid. That was the whole point of getting rid of this. Okay. How do I want to do this? How do I want to reconnect that road? I'm not really sure if I want to do a permanent solution to it. I don't think I do. I don't think I do want a permanent solution. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect it to this corner for now. I think that's probably the way to go. I don't know if it is the way to go. It's probably not the way to go. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to connect it to this corner. So bring this guy sort of straight down. We'll go ahead and maybe swap that out for a, I don't think it needs to be an asymmetrical road. Also, the grid lines don't line up perfectly, which just hurts my soul every single time. We'll do this. We'll do a 4-lane road, and I guess we'll bring this down a little bit further. We'll bring you over a little bit further, kind of just push them closer together and just do a curve. We'll just go for the basic little solution for now. So that's going to give industrial traffic away into the city, and that's going to take it away from the... It's going to take it away from this guy, because there is a lot of traffic using this this interchange. So hopefully this will help us out. And I mean, it's better than it was, right? It's better than it was. It's not just a random road crossing across the terrain anymore. Although I do think we should fill this space in. In fact, I think we should try and fill this kind of space around the cathedral a little bit better. I kind of want to expand Amity Park. So let me bring these power lines back a little bit. And I'm kind of wondering, can I connect them up to this at all? Is there anywhere around here? I think up there, that might count. Let's just test that out and see. Does that give us a power connection? It does. Okay. So now we have this space to play with. We have these spaces kind of around the edges as well. I don't really know what I'd put in here, to be honest. I mean, it's just going to be an expansion of the park, really, but I'm not too sure. We also have, we have all of these full cemeteries. No wonder we're having death waves. Let's empty these. Let's empty all of these, and then we'll just open them up again when we empty them out. So we're going to take the bodies out of the cemeteries. We're going to take them to the crematoriums, wherever those might be. And then we're just going to open the cemeteries again. We're kind of recycling the graveyard, which is kind of grim if you think about it, but we'll try not to think about it. Now, something I think we could do with this space is actually use it as a bit of an expansion of the high school campus in a way. Because we have this. It's a sports hall and gymnasium. We have this, which is a community pool. They're not huge buildings, but they are, I suppose, going to be good for people. It raises the health of people a little bit. So doing things like these might be a cool idea, just to fill in the space. So the sports hall there, we could do the pool sort of next to it. Do they look like they're part of the same thing? Not really. In fact, they don't look great there at all, to be quite honest. I'm probably going to have to shuffle them around a little bit. I might even go so far as bringing the pool back from the road a little bit. So we could go ahead and do, let's see here, if I just get myself a little section of road, we'll go for this guy with the median and trees down the middle. And then what I'd want to do is go right about here. And yes, that shrinks the size of that bus stop, but then I can just sort of pull this back and put it there, which I think just looks better having it back from the road a little bit. It might even be better the other way around. So if I was to move this thing down to here and then bring a little road sort of behind it and then put it here, because then you have these hedges that kind of block the view of the pool from the road, which I think would be better. We can even go so far as putting some trees kind of between the road and the pool, so the view from the buildings is kind of blocked as well. I don't know if this really makes sense. I don't think this is necessarily the kind of building that would be right here, but I'm gonna go for it just to fill in the space, just to do something a little bit different, make this block a little bit different as well. I might play around with angles. I don't really know on that one. I don't love this. I love the idea of what I'm getting at here, but the layout already, I hate it. I hate everything about it. It looks so uninspired. Now this right here is kind of cool, I guess. It's in the spirit of extending the high school. So now we have a city American football stadium. And I think what we'll do is go for maybe blue as the color for this, since we went for sort of an orange on the soccer stadium. So we kind of have the contrasting colors there. I can't remember what the exact word is though, but basically, if you remember years ago, sort of cyan and orange were on every movie poster, and it kind of worked until you got really sick of it because you noticed how frequent it was or how common it was. Those colors are opposite each other on a color wheel, and I think they're opposite each other. I'm pretty sure they are. I think it's complementary is the word I'm looking for. I might be wrong on that. It might be something else, but that's the idea of what I'm going for here, just in case you are at all curious as to why I went for blue and orange. That's the science behind it. Now, let's see if I can make this look a little bit less terrible. Can I get a bit of a slope on this? Just something a little bit smoother than what we've got. I'm kind of hoping I can. So just that right about there. I'm not really too sure if that is going to work, actually. It's probably not. Yeah, I'd have to flatten this out if I wanted it to work better. I think I can do that though. I think if I take that away and I just go and sort of level this out a little bit, I think I can have this road sort of come down to, I'm gonna say there-ish. And if I bring this guy sort of over as well, so over to about there, I can use the slope tool to get something like this, which might be all right. I'm not too sure. Bring this up and in line with that road, bring you down. And yeah, I think I can get a nice little curve on this. So let's give that a bit of a shot. I think this is where we're going to get it there. So take those out, run this guy kind of around that bend. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I don't think it looks terrible. We can smooth that out a little bit as well to make it look a little bit more natural. And while I'm detailing this, I was thinking about this while I was detailing the disaster response building to the right here. I don't think I've explained, at least I've not done it in a long time, why I don't play City Skylines with disasters enabled. And I realize that's probably something worth explaining since we are building or have built the disaster response unit. Long story short, well, I don't want to, really is the be all and end all of it. But you know, there's a reason that I don't want to, and it's basically my thinking is this. My thinking is, you know, I'm about to spend the next 5 minutes, let's say ish, placing all of these rocks, right? And when I'm done with these rocks, I'm going to zoom out. I'm hopefully going to look at them and be like, ah, those are some good rocks, right? That's the goal. That's what you want to do. You want to zoom out and you're like, man, those are some good rocks. What I don't want to happen is for me to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long it might take, probably less than 5 minutes, placing all of these rocks and detailing all these different areas that I detail. And then a pop-up comes up on screen that says, hey, everything you built, everything that you've painstakingly pieced together over the course of however many hours you've been building this city, all of that, bud, all of that's about to get bulldozed. Not just bulldozed, but blown into oblivion by a meteor from above that's going to fall at random somewhere in your city. Now, don't get me wrong. I admire people who can play this game with disasters enabled, but those people are what you would call a glass half full type of person. Because when a disaster is inbound towards my city, all I can think about is, oh God, everything I built and everything I've grown to love is about to be gone. All of these things that I've painstakingly put together are going to be blown to pieces. Meanwhile, glass half full kind of people, despite the billions of dollars in property damage, despite the potential extinction of the city, despite the fact that whatever culture may have been built up over the years in this city, despite the fact that there may be hundreds of thousands of people dead, the glass half full type of person looks at the crater left behind by a meteor and doesn't see death. They don't see the destruction. They don't see annihilation. They look at that and go, oh, would you look at that, fella? We got a new dog park. I'm not that kind of person. That's not how I operate. Where they see a new hiking trail, I see a representation of the pit in my stomach. You know, an actual pit in the ground. It's just, it's just not for me. I can't deal with it. I'm an anxious person by nature. I'm a very anxious person. So playing this game with the looming threat of, you know, annihilation, it's just not my thing. And so with this now done, we can move along to Amity Park, which I've already started working on. I've just gone and added some fences and some paths around the edges here. And all I really want to do is just add some plazas and just add some things to it. So let's go ahead and put in the park chessboard. It's a bit of a larger plaza, but I think it'll look pretty good kind of in probably that space right about there. Okay, maybe not. It's not the best looking, I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to keep it there just because I want something in that space. Although I don't, you know, I don't love it. I don't love it next to the graveyards. That's kind of what I'm, admittedly, I do have a cafe down here, but I don't know. I imagine that cafe would be kind of nice in the sense that it would be like, you can go and have a cup of coffee and reminisce about whoever you were visiting. That's how I'm going to choose to look at that. I'm also not 100% sure that I love the way those fences are behaving now that I've put that building there. So let me just level that terrain a little bit just to bring those fences up to that level there. And maybe the same with this one as well. Maybe just level you out ever so slightly too. Just maybe hitting it with a bit of a smoothing brush just so it's a little bit more wobbly. But I think that's okay. I don't mind that too much. So that'll be a building there. We could probably throw some gazebos in here too. If I could get one in that corner, that'd be great. I don't think I can, so I'm just going to put one, I'm going to say right about there, I think is where we can put a gazebo. I can also get one right there, which I actually really like. So I'm going to put a gazebo right at the end of that road. Gazebo is also a fun word. I'm really enjoying the word gazebo at the moment. This is a climbing frame. I don't know if I want to put it here. I really don't. I mean, it's not, again, it's one of those things that you can kind of put it there and be like, oh, you know, it's nice to kind of give the kids somewhere to chill and relax, but no, not next to a cemetery. Definitely not next to a cemetery. Maybe we also do, I don't know, a few more restrooms right there and maybe another cafe. If we do a cafe right there, that's a terrible view, actually. It's a view of nothing. We'll just do the restrooms, and I think I'm just going to fill this with trees. I think that's going to be my goal here, is just fill this with trees, make it look a little bit natural. I'm going to fill this space around the edges of the cliff as well, and I think that'll be enough. I don't think we need to go too crazy with this, although I'm wondering, do I want to do this along the road? What did I do here? I did oak trees along the road on the other one. So let's try that again. Let's do some decent sized oak trees. We'll sort of space them out a little bit so that there's pretty solid coverage of the park from the road there. I'll go to here as well. And I'm probably going to do the same across here. I don't know if I love that though. I've got to be honest. I don't know that I love that. This one's not quite as solid of a line, so maybe I'll kind of leave some gaps in between the trees so it's not a solid kind of block. You know, you can kind of see through in a couple of places. That might be the way to go. Something a little bit more like that. Yeah, I think I prefer that. So what we'll do is maybe take this one out, take that one out, and I think just add a little one in there. Yeah, I prefer that. I definitely prefer that. And there we go. I'm kind of happy with how this has turned out. It's a little overgrown, but that's kind of what I was going for. I just wanted the space to be filled in a bit. I've also done some more rock work here next to this plaza, so I'm kind of pleased with that. We filled in this space pretty nicely, to be honest. Got the disaster response unit, got the new stadium, got all this good stuff, and of course all this stuff that I did between episodes, which it's working out. We've also managed to get rid of most of the traffic off of those roads, even if it has just moved down to here. That's still better than the highway backing up. Honestly, I'm really pleased with this. It's a nice little expansion. It's kind of nicely capped off the bottom end of the city before we start going down these hills and all that good stuff. We're also really close to having 38,000 people. Like really, really close to having 38,000 people. Annoyingly close because the population's not growing anymore because we have demand. That's how we can tell. So what I'm going to do, I was going to move to wrap up the episode right about now, but I'm that close to having 38,000 people that I think what I'm going to do is just very quickly come down here and we're going to try and build a district just very, very quickly. Now that does line up nicely. That will run straight through there and straight up to there. So that's going to give us a nice block to play with, which is what I'm looking for. And then what I want to do is essentially come over here and do, say, something like this. It's not going to be inspired. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is not going to be a city block that is remotely inspired nor inspiring. It is purely here for function and purpose. In fact, what I will do, just so we have a little bit of something, is we'll leave that as kind of a triangle there so that I can do some trees and all that good stuff. But it's going to be like that, which I think is fine. And that'll give us pretty much everything we need in terms of population. So we'll go ahead and just run some pipes kind of around this. Again, not very inspired, not really supposed to be. I just want my 38,000 people so I can get my new tile. That's what I'm looking for. So we'll do that, and that should be all right. How are services looking up here? So healthcare is that death care I'm looking at? Healthcare is fine, which is all right. Death care is all right. Fire coverage is good and policing is good. So we can pretty much just go ahead and build this space. I am going to lay it out as a district first though, because I want to make sure that I have all of my policies and I have all the styles that I'm going to want. So that's a park that I'm laying in there. That is absolutely useless to me right now. So again, it's going to be a district that goes all the way down here, all the way across here. It's going to go up and around. It's got that little weird bit. And it's going to be filled in just like so. And that gives us Chester District. Okay, I'll take Chester District. We'll cut off the bits that we don't want. We'll cut off this bit as well. And we'll just take out all of this and also this part. And now I get to decide what goes in here. So as per usual, we're going to do some commercial along here. We're going to do some commercial all the way up to here. This avenue, I'm not too concerned about putting residential zoning on. What I will do is commercial here on the little angled part. And then the rest of this, I'm kind of okay with just doing residential, to be quite honest. I think that'll be pretty good. So this is going to be residential here. This is all going to be residential, and this is all going to be residential as well. Some of it I'm probably going to chop out because a little bit of, some footpaths and stuff in here I think will be good. We can do one across here, for example. And then down this way, we can kind of play around with footpaths as well. So something like this, I think is pretty solid. Can I connect you to there? I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. I'd like a little something here as well. I'd like a little something there too. And ideally I would have something across the back here as well, just like that. And maybe down here as well. I don't need to do this one, but I'd like to. So yeah, that'll just give us some options for people to walk around. This little guy here is also going to be residential. I don't like that corner is missing, so we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. We might have a weird building or two in there, but honestly, not super concerned about it. Let's just put some trees into that space. We'll let it build. We'll put some trees down here as well. Maybe a little bit of color along the sidewalk, just so it looks all nice and fancy. And I totally forgot to do my policies. So modern city center and an old town policy. And now if we let this run, it should build pretty quickly. It does have a bus stop right here as well, which is going to be good for the people. And this should be enough to push us over into the good old 38,000 people. I've also intentionally left this space because I'm thinking I'm going to try and do something unique in here. We might try and do either some unique buildings or some big fancy service buildings. I know this guy, for example, the intelligence agency, I know we just built one, but it fits really nicely in there. So I'm sure we can get something else that'll fit in there just as nicely as well. Whatever that might be, we'll discover in due time. For example, the stock exchange. I wonder if it would fit in there. That would be interesting. Unfortunately, no. It would be cool though. It would be cool to have the stock exchange in there. I might have to move those. Well, I can't move the highways around. If I could move the highways around, that would be interesting to do. We could also replace this big sign with the stock exchange. I might do that because I've mentioned that I'm not entirely comfortable with that thing, but we'll figure that out. And there we go. We have 38,000 sims, which means we can press this button. We can go down here and unlock this tile, which is fantastic news. And that pretty much sets us up to go ahead and start working on ore industry. Now, the other thing to keep in mind about the ore industry is that is going to give us access to other things. For example, the lemonade factory needs glass. We can get that from the ore industry. We have things like the petroleum fat refinery, which needs metal. We can get that from the ore industry. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we're going to be able to build once we get ore going. The modular house factory, for example, there's a lot of things. And these are big factories. So we're going to need a pretty good space down here for a lot of that. My only concern is that I'm not entirely sure that this road will hold up all that well. It's doing all right for now. It's not perfect. It is by no means perfect, but it's doing all right for now. We have some asymmetrical roads down here that are doing wonders for us, but it is probably about as saturated as I want it to be. I think throwing more traffic at this is only going to serve to cause more problems. So we might have to be careful. I might want to think twice about just using this one road to support an entire new industry because it is probably at about its limit. So what we could potentially do is look at bringing a bridge sort of across here, maybe straight across and kind of around up that hill. And then, you know, we'll use this roundabout and this highway connection as well as that one to support the industry. I don't know if that'd be a good idea, but it would be kind of cool to have more bridges like this around the map. I really like that one. So we might play around with that idea. It might not be a terrible idea to have multiple ways in and out of here. That's not good. That is very much on fire. Now, speaking of this space, just while we're here, we do have some options I think I've talked about before. For example, there is the warehouse with railway connection. I think I've mentioned this thing a few times, and I've talked about how we can potentially use that to import and export things. I've done some testing with it here and there, and it doesn't seem to work. At least it didn't work for what I was hoping it would do. I was testing some factories and unique factory products, and I had this thing connected to a rail network, and it just wasn't exporting. It was filling up. It just wasn't sending anything out. So what I ended up doing was replacing that warehouse with the good old standard cargo train terminal, and it worked fine. So that's potentially what we'll end up doing, is just placing a cargo train terminal down by a lot of this stuff and using that to export a lot of our factory goods. The only issue is that the train connection is over there. So we might have to come up with some creative ways to connect it around. I really don't want to get cheesy and use just giant tunnels. So I'll have to come up with something. We might even want multiple cargo train terminals because there's a solid chance that if I build one down here, a lot of this industry is going to start sending it stuff across the bridge, and it's going to just get this place super saturated with traffic. We might have a lot of these guys wanting to do the same thing. And if anything gets delivered that needs to go to the city, it's going to come out of this, you know, train terminal and want to use this bridge, and it's just going to be chaotic. So we might, if we go for train connections, we might want a few of them, but that's going to be a problem for me to deal with another day, because that's going to do us for today. I'm really pleased with how the city's coming along. I really like that we filled in this space. I like that it's got a bunch of kind of unique plopped buildings and stuff like that. It looks good. and I'm really happy with it. I hope you are as well. It's a cool little space. We've got disaster response, we got the intelligence agency, we got all this stuff, and I'm just kind of pleased with it. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.